Love this podcast? Support it and sponsor today. Simply head to AuscastNetwork.com for details.
In a world where everyone says hello,
they dare to say, yeah,
g'day.
Yeah, g'day.
Yeah, good day.
Yeah, g'day. Yes, good day. Yeah, g'day. G'day. Yeah, g'day. Yeah,
Day.
yeah, good day.
Wow, wow.
Yeah,
good day.
G'day. Hey, yeah, g'day. Yeah, g'day, Tim.
Yeah, g'day, Leon.
Yeah, g'day, everyone.
Yeah, g'day, everyone.
Welcome to Yeah, G'day, the complete guide to Australia. I always feel like you're meant to do that part, even though I know that's the part I do, and so I always have this momentary pause.
Yeah.
It's like, come on, Tim, say it. Oh, I'll have to say it.
Oh, fine, I'll take it again. Yeah, no, I don't say that.
As with every week on the podcast that we've been doing in perpetuity, I'm going to start by reading a passage from one of the books that sits next to us on the desk.
That would be new?
Yeah.
But old.
I don't know.
Yeah.
We're sitting here, we're shooting the shit, you know. I did take a picture which I'll post on social media, which I've probably already posted because this episode is recorded in the future for the past. I mean, the past for the future. There's a book that I look at every episode. It says Marquee on the top of it, but I think that might be the company. It's about playwrights, I think. Someone wrote the word suckling on it. Before I got it, I hope. Otherwise, Tim's vandalised my books in his bedroom.
It sits in my room, so you see it every time you podcast. I see it every morning when I wake
Tim wakes up
up.
and you're like, oh, Jesus. But anyway, today's reading comes from Playgoing in Shakespeare's London, 2nd edition,
Yeah,
by Andrew Gurr.
because the guy wrote it and then had a second thought and actually, I'll rewrite this.
You know when new evidence comes out about Shakespeare?
Yes.
Because
Yeah.
that's happening. Evidence for the preference of real playgoers such as Green, Heath, and Mildmay, or Mildmay, is supported by a resurgence in the 1630s of the jibes at citizens and the Red Bull repertory. So,
What?
I really think that set us up for an episode today.
Out of context, none of that means anything.
No, Red Bull. I didn't know that was around back then.
It gives you wings.
Obviously, that's how Shakespeare wrote so many plays. He was just pounding cans of taurine.
This episode brought to you by Red Bull, by the way.
Red Bull and Shakespeare.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was shit. But let us know if you liked it, and we'll
What
do
a
it
way
all
to
the time.
start. What a way
There
to
are
start.
lots of books over here. I'm sure
Yeah.
we could find something funny if we opened up one of them
There's probably many
at some point.
things.
So it is another episode. As I said, this is recorded in the past or the future, so I'm still deaf in that one ear.
Yeah.
That hasn't changed in the last 10 minutes.
I mean, it could have.
Yeah. Hopefully by the time the episode goes up, I can hear again. Otherwise, I think I'm in trouble if it's that long.
Yeah.
If it's like 2 weeks. Today, in the lead up to a day, public holiday that's appearing on Thursday, we thought it was important to talk about what are some of the most iconic biscuits in Australian history.
Biscuits. That's cookie for you American folk.
Don't say cookie. Mum and Dad will throw their laptop
But
across the room.
these are biscuits.
Biscuits.
They're biscuits in every sense of the word. As if you're an Australian, if you understand the difference between a cookie and a biscuit, these are biscuits.
Oh, yeah.
In every
Through and
sense
through.
of the word.
This is the first time we understood what a biscuit was in Australia.
Yeah.
We're talking about ANZAC Biscuits.
ANZAC Biscuits.
Not ANZAC cookies,
They're delicious.
because people will lose their minds if you say that.
Yeah.
But ANZAC Biscuits, a sweet, delicious, savoury treat.
No, not savoury. They're sweet. They're sweet.
There's oats in there, though.
There's oats. But there's oats in oats and raisin cookies.
Yeah, and they're grossly savoury, I would
They're
say.
delicious
Yeah,
is what
of
they
course
are.
you said that.
ANZAC Biscuits.
Yes. Tell me about them.
Well, I guess, first of all, what you need to know is it's a sweet biscuit. It's popular here in Australia and also New Zealand. It's made using rolled oats, flour, sugar, butter, or margarine.
Ooh.
Golden syrup,
Yes.
which is the interesting element that I always forget until you make them.
Oh,
And I'm
yeah.
like, oh, yeah, there's golden syrup in these.
Very important.
Baking soda, which a biscuit does make,
Yes.
is my understanding.
I think so. I've watched a lot of Great British Bake Off, couldn't tell you.
Yeah.
But let's say yes.
Is there baking soda in cookies? I don't fucking know. But I feel like that's the key
That's
factor.
the kicker.
Boiling water, so you always have to be careful with these biscuits.
Don't burn yourself.
And optionally, desiccated coconut. Not sure I've ever had that, but I would be into it.
No, but as you read off that list as well, I thought about how good a Anzac biscuit would be if you put maple syrup in there instead of golden syrup.
Maybe. I
don't
think
know.
golden syrup holds it together better, though.
Golden syrup is sweeter, but maple syrup is delicious.
Anyway, but these biscuits have long been associated with the Australian and New Zealand Army Corps, also known as ANZAC, which
say
was established... Corps.
Isn't it core?
C-O-R-P-S.
Yes,
Core?
pronounced core. It's the reason I know this...
Aren't I 28 years worth of embarrassed?
I'm going to point this out to you. It could be... Some people might pronounce it core. The reason I know this is because I was hosting the spelling bee one time at a school. Please. Did I mention that I teach and I host spelling bees?
Right.
And the word
Spell
was...
konnichiwa.
K-I. The word was core,
Yeah.
but at that time I read it as corpse. So I said to this kid, spell corpse, and
he
then I
spelled
used it in a
corpse.
sentence like army corps. And of course they were like C-O-R-P-S. Whereas if I had said spell core, I'm sure it would have been a harder thing like army corps. Because after I had said that, because I was like, I know how to say this word. After I read it, I read the pronunciation next to it, and I was like, oh, I don't know how to say that word.
Core.
I said that word incorrectly.
Interesting.
Anyway,
So, Australian and New Zealand Army Corps, also known as ANZAC,
yes.
established in World War One. These biscuits sent by wives and women's groups to the soldiers abroad during World War One because the ingredients don't spoil very easily. This is something I heard. This is something I feel like they taught us at school. Like this is widely known around
I
Australia.
think whenever Anzac Day comes around.
So they keep really well during transportation and they last a really long time. So they're nice little treats that women and men would send over to both the men and women who were fighting overseas during
People
World
at
War
home
One.
would send to people overseas.
Correct. Let's use that way. But Anzac biscuits are especially... I mean, you can buy them year-round, but they are especially associated with Anzac Day, which, as you mentioned, is coming up on Thursday, which is on the 25th? 25th?
Is it?
25th of April each year.
Thursday. Yes, sorry. Yep.
25th of April. For those who don't know, Anzac Day is a day that we celebrate past and present and future armed forces.
I think armed forces.
Of all descriptions and their contribution towards Australia and keeping us safe, etc., etc., etc. But the 25th of April marks probably easily the most famous battle that Australia has ever been associated with, or at least it is in Australia, the Battle of Gallipoli, when Australian and British forces landed in Turkey at the Bay of Gallipoli. And
Incorrectly so.
incorrectly so, they were not meant to land there, which meant that things did not go well for them.
Nope.
Not well at all, and pretty much all of our forces were killed in that particular battle, if not immediately while getting off the boats in the ensuing fight. Not many people came home, but they are widely regarded and treated as heroes.
It turns out that if the other team has the higher ground,
And not just the high, like literally on top of a fucking cliff.
that doesn't go well for
Yeah.
your team.
So Gallipoli holds, which maybe one day we'll do. It's quite a sad story, but maybe we'll do like a full story about Gallipoli at one point. But
It'll be rough, but
it's very rough.
worthwhile.
But Gallipoli holds a very special place in all Australians' hearts because of its importance. It was kind of one of the first times after Federation when like Australia went off to fight in the war and help our allies, and like this was a test of Australian courage and all that sort of stuff. That's kind of how it's viewed. Anyway, so these biscuits are associated with that and with the armed forces. So they also hold a special place.
Yes. Nostalgia.
Nostalgia indeed. Origins. The origins. We'll go a bit deeper.
Are we fighting with New Zealand again over who made it first?
Well, maybe a little. During a speech to the East Otago, which is in New Zealand, Federation of Women's Institutes, Professor Helen Leach of the Archaeology Department of University of Otago in New Zealand stated that the first published use of the name Anzac in a recipe was in an advertisement in the 7th edition of St Andrew's Cookery Book, Dunedin, 1915. As to whether that... I think that means she's claiming it's in New Zealand.
I was going to say, I feel like a New Zealand professor wouldn't stand up and be like, look, Australia actually made it, so...
But this was a cake, not a biscuit, and there were no mixing instructions. A recipe for Anzac Biscuits, here we go, appeared in the War Chest Cookery Book, published in Sydney in 1917, but was for a different biscuit altogether. so far we've not hit the mark at all.
Okay, everyone's messed up.
Same publication included a prototype of today's ANZAC biscuit, though. So it was in the same publication, but they weren't...
It was called like Franklin's Cookie.
Yeah. They've also been called ANZAC Crispies in the 9th edition of St Andrew's cookery book.
Don't agree with that.
And then on and on and on until we're here. Somehow it's...
Oh, we're here. Hello.
As per usual with any, like Lamingtons, anything that has come out of Australia / New Zealand, but actually Australia.
Always Australia.
There's kind of like this initial period where it seems to be in publications, and then all of a sudden it just shows up the way that it is.
Yeah.
But nobody can really determine what the hell happened in that ensuing period.
Got there.
So today they're pretty available commercially.
You can get, as you said, you can get them year round.
Yeah. They are still used for fundraising because of their association with the ANZACs and ANZAC Day, of course. And for things like the RSL, so Returned and Service Leagues of Australia. I don't know if they have that overseas. We have RSL clubs and ex-servicemen's clubs and stuff like that.
They call it more veterans and stuff like that.
I guess so,
the veteran association.
Yeah, we don't really use the word veteran that much here, do we?
No. Veteran, I feel like...
We kind of do.
It's mainly used with Vietnam because of the alliteration of Vietnam vet.
Yeah. I mean, we have the veterans office and stuff like that, but I don't think people really get referred to as veterans so much.
A nursing home that it is... comprised mainly of return servicemen is usually called like the war vets or something like that, or at least the one near our house was. But yeah, we don't use the term veteran much. But yeah, it's just veterans. And the Return Servicemen League, is that what the L is?
Yeah,
Return Servicemen League. The RSL clubs down here is basically a place where there are, or in New South Wales at least, there were pokies. You had the bistro where you get some food.
Yep.
You know, the bars are there that have some entertainment sometimes. It
usually
was a family oriented until like 10 o'clock and the kids had to get out kind of thing. Yeah. You had to dress in better-ish clothes.
You have to be quite conservative in your dress. Yeah.
And at 6 o'clock, you stand up?
6 o'clock, yes.
It's not the last post, is it?
I think it's the last post.
But like it's...
So I guess we should probably explain a little bit more as well. They probably did something similar in America. And anyone who's British would know this because Australia fought quite closely with the British during both wars, really. But at the start of the day, they would play...
the last post.
Not the last.
It's called something else.
It's called something else.
The wake-up music.
There's two like trumpet songs that they play.
Bugle songs.
On the bugle, sorry, yeah. And one they play in the morning to wake everyone up, let them know it's time to get to your posts and whatnot. And then there's one at the end of the day which basically signals that it's time to rest.
And that's the last post.
That's the last post. So both of these are usually... Well, the last post is played in an RSL club at 6 o'clock. Everyone has to be quiet. And
face the west?
West. Yeah,
maybe?
It would be the west. Traditionally speaking, throughout all cultures, you would face the west.
It's at the going down of the sun, if you remember. So where the sun sets.
Face the west. They play the bugle, the last post, over the PA system. And everyone has to be quiet while that plays. But also on ANZAC Day... So ANZAC Day itself is usually celebrated. So we have parades through the streets. So pretty much not pretty much, every city and even multiple suburbs within cities will have their own ANZAC parade. And usually that parade will consist of community groups, primary and high schoolers from that particular area will be in the parade. Ex-servicemen that live in that area and who are associated with the ex-servicemen's club, or even if they're not as well, will often either march in the parade themselves, and there'll be marching bands and stuff like that in the parade as well. They'll march, or descendants of them will march with their medals, or they'll get in... sometimes they drive them in nice cars if they're getting a bit older and they can't walk and stuff like that. Basically, they parade through and everyone celebrates or honours...
what they've done.
And then usually there's a service at the end with a minute's silence, and they'll play both of them.
Yeah, when you do, because as you say, at the RSL club you usually have the last post, but when it comes to ANZAC Day ceremonies, they play the other one first, which I wish I could remember the name of it right now. I know how it goes. It goes...
Yeah, I can hear it in my head, but I can't.
But they play that, and then you have... Is it they play that, then you have a minute silence, and they do the last post? Or they do the last post, and then you have a minute... Either way.
They usually do the last post, and then it's a minute silence.
And if you don't cry during the last post, you're an animal. It's impossible. It's a bugle for some reason that makes me tear up.
It's a minute silence after the last post to say, well, to goodbye and to thank and consider.
As we said, we will cover Anzac Day and Gallipoli at a later point in time. We just decided today we want to talk about biscuits.
Yeah.
And yet here we are talking about
Well, I mean,
bugles.
you can't talk about the Anzac Biscuits
No.
without mentioning all of this kind of history and association.
No.
And with Anzac Day coming up. It is challenging to talk about, though.
Yes.
It's not a lot of... There's not much joke material here.
No. Biscuits, though.
The biscuits are delicious, though.
Did you find the name of this? Were you looking for the name of the
I
song?
was looking for the name
Can't
of
find
the
it.
song, but I can't find it. Hang on, you just chat to them and...
Oh, yeah. So I still can't hear out of my right ear. It's the ringing, tinnitus. Some people say tinnitus. I say tinnitus. I really hit that I sound, even though I guess there's no way for the I sound to be elongated. There's no E in there. But I guess you can still get the I sound anyway. English is a fickle language. Are you...
The other one's called the rouse?
Oh, the rouse.
The rouse.
Like rousing.
R-O-U-S-E, yeah.
Yeah, to be roused from your sleep.
Rouse. Or the reveille.
Yeah, you're going well with pronouncing words today.
What is language? I don't understand
What is language?
it.
Maybe don't hurt me.
Yeah.
Right. So anyway, biscuits. Anzac biscuits.
Yeah. Anzac Biscuits.
Have we gone through all the information? Like, are we onto the more discussion section of the podcast?
Yes, absolutely. This is
Okay.
the discussion section.
So as you know, in this
Shall we
section, Tim and I discuss. I haven't had an Anzac biscuit in quite some time because of the fibre element of oats scaring my bowels.
It's a fibrous bicky.
It is, but considering I've recently come back to the world of Wheat Bix, did we talk on here about Wheat Bix with maple syrup?
No, that sounds like too much for me.
Just so everyone knows, turns out the best cereal in the world is Wheat Bix with maple syrup and some banana.
You're right.
Secondary to that, all cereal is improved by maple syrup, including rice bubbles. I seem to have a bit of a theme going.
Yep.
But considering I'm now eating, wheaty... What Wheat Bix are
Wheatiness.
made out of... Is that wheat in there? What is it?
Yeah, it's wheat.
But it's oat as well.
No, there's
It's whole
no...
grain. Isn't it
there's-
whole grain oat?
In Wheat Bix?
Yeah.
No, there's no oats in Wheat Bix.
What's Wheat Bix made out of?
Wheat.
Yeah, but I thought there was something else in there.
No. It's wheat, friend.
Can we just wait so I can go listen to the episode?
It's all wheat.
Anyway, they're fibrous, and they're not killing me. So, during this episode, I've realised I think I might have some Anzac biscuits this year, and I love an Anzac biscuit.
Yeah.
Have you made Anzac biscuits?
I have made them many, many moons ago. When we were kids, we used to make them a fair bit.
I don't remember using boiling water. I just remember mixing the oaty mix,
Yeah.
oats and everything else in there together.
I can imagine it's probably something to do with the chemical, the baking powder and all that activation bullshit. I don't really understand it.
Just saying words.
Yeah.
Did your grandparents make them?
Yeah, my nan would make them, definitely.
Nana is...
Yeah.
Nana, I don't know if I've told this story. This is one that I always remember. Nana once made biscuits that we took home. So they would have been oat based anyway, at least. But let's say they were an Anzac biscuit. And Nana put a little bit of tipple in there, added some brandy. When I say some, she added enough that one of my teachers asked me why I smelt like brandy.
You have one biscuit, you have a hangover for the next 3 days.
It was the best day of school I've ever sat through.
Yeah.
No, but so she really poured it in there. But I think nowadays, obviously, the plastic containers that Anzac biscuits come in at Woolies and Coles is common. But to me, the iconic thing for them, and I believe how they were sent over there, is in the tin.
Yeah.
So there's the Anzac biscuit tin. I can picture the one that Nana has, and I picture one that comes out, I think, every year. It's like a blue round tin with red Anzac writing on it.
Yeah.
You get the cookies in there. Sorry, biscuits in there.
Yeah.
There's a lot tied to it. But the big debate, do you prefer it to be crisp throughout or like a bit of chew in there?
With a bit of chew in it.
Bit of chew in there is the only way to go.
Oh, for me, I like a chew.
Yeah, but I like a bit of crisp on the outside, but I want a chewy middle.
Because this is the thing. You can buy it either way. Usually the smaller ones, because you can get them in different sizes often.
Yes.
I know Arnott's make quite a small one.
Yeah.
They're usually quite hard.
Arnott's ones are very hard.
But then I like one that you're going to get from a bakery. And it's going to be big. It's going to be crispy around the edges.
Yep.
But in towards the center, you're looking at a good chewiness.
You want a deep golden brown on the bottom.
All gold. Mm-mm.
The top... But see, the thing is, when you get them from Woolies or Coles, because they make pretty good chewy ones.
They do, yeah.
They're usually quite pale on the top,
They are, yeah.
and they're
yeah.
still okay.
That's
But
that's true.
You do want it. You don't. Yeah, the Arnott's ones are they're actually teeth breakers.
Yeah,
They're hardcore.
I would say they're too hard,
I feel like they have good flavor though.
but they're built for a longer shelf life. So I actually think maybe they would be probably closer
Yes.
to the original.
Yeah, cook the shit out of it and then send it away.
Yeah.
It's probably going to be fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I like a soft one too. But I do, yeah. You want that golden. It's got to be gold.
Yeah, they have a beautiful color in them.
Yeah. What color are you going to paint the house? Oh, I know the perfect color. ANZAC Biscuit.
Yeah.
Brown.
Fuck, look at that sunset. That's exactly like an ANZAC biscuit. Exactly.
Babe, your hair reminds me of the golden brown of an ANZAC Biscuit. Don't get offended.
Yeah.
That's a really big compliment coming from me. Yeah, they're good. They're sweet. I say they're savory, as I said, because oats and stuff to me make me feel like they're savory. They're not overly sweet, but golden syrup it's such a good flavor because it's not a super sugary cookie or that. It's a nice biscuit with just that lingering. I don't know what it is about golden syrup or maple syrup and that, but they have the flavor of golden. Like golden syrup, it's not syrup, but the golden part of
Well,
it.
golden syrup is like sweet, but it's also a bit molassesy in its taste. It's kind of like it's bordering on the molasses.
Yeah.
So I think that's where that.
I think golden
Flavor
is
comes
like warm sweetness.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a
the way-
warmth in it.
yeah.
There's a warmth in it.
But it's not hot.
No.
It's not Bernie's hot.
No.
It's like warmie's hot.
熱いじゃないですね。熱くない. Anyone that speaks Japanese, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
Did you just mess up your Japanese when you were trying to be fancy?
熱くない.
What's that?
It means it's not hot. 熱くないですね.
I like it how you were like, I can do this,
How
and then you messed it
embarrassing.
up. But also you messed it up, and I don't know how
Just
many people on
edit
our podcast listenership can actually speak Japanese, but if no one can speak Japanese that listens to this show, you could have gotten away with it if it wasn't for your meddling kids.
I could have, yeah.
But your damn conscience,
Yeah.
the root of all your troubles.
I would have felt like a real dick for the rest of the day.
Yeah. So is that all there is on ANZAC Biscuits? I think so.
Yeah,
They're delicious.
I think so.
Go grab some. If
Yeah.
can you get them in America? If not, you can make them. Like it's
Surely there's
easy
a way
as.
for you to get them, yeah.
Well, yeah, just like seriously make them. Rolled oats.
We'll post the...
We'll post you some golden syrup.
We'll
Do you guys
post
have golden syrup
an
in America?
ingredient. What is it? What's that thing?
Recipe.
A recipe. That's
An
it.
ingredient list, a
Yeah.
shopping list that you can then make food out of later on.
We'll post you a recipe and you can make them. They're very, very easy to make.
Tim, what's that sound?
I don't know. What is it?
It's the Harold Holt Watch.
Oh.
All right, got one on my analog digital device.
Please look at it.
It is very hard to read.
Fabulous.
Dear Tim and Leon,
Yep.
I hope you are both having a great month. As the Easter festivities start to die down, I think I may have spotted our friend, Harold Holt. I was shopping at the Coles in Perth, you know the one, the other day.
The one Coles in Perth. Yeah.
And I was looking at the Easter egg displays. Most of them were marked down, so I was pretty excited. As I reached into the box to pull out a packet of Turkish Delight eggs, I touched hands with a shopper reaching for the same packet.
Yeah.
Before I could look up, he said, "Not to worry, you can have them this time."
Oh.
When I looked up, I saw an old man walking away. The back of his jacket said Hazza. Clearly, it was Harold Holt in a personalised jacket.
Yeah.
Anyway, keep up the better than average work, Travisky.
Travisky.
It's almost like a combination of Travis and then the K-I at the end, but I think it's a real name.
Travisky. Hello.
Mr. Travisky. Harold's unsettling.
He is.
You can
unsettling.
have them
Yeah.
this time.
Oh, he likes his Turkish Delight egg.
Turkish Delight is fucking amazing.
Harold, if you're listening, you fucking bang on with that choice, my
Yeah,
friend.
great choice. And Travisky's on it with it
Yeah.
as well. Good job,
The
mate.
Turkish Delight eggs are spectacular.
I like the
yeah.
personalised jacket.
Yeah, Hazza.
Hazza.
I'd like to see that jacket.
I'm picturing, there's two things I'm picturing. I'm either picturing like a year 6 jumper where it's like Hazza and then it's like 19 under it or whatever, like
Yeah.
you graduate year 6.
And it's sewn on in like very block letters.
Oh, not sewn. It's one of those sticky ironed on ones.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm also...
That school can't
Yeah.
afford embroidery.
Please.
Yeah.
But I'm also picturing, for some reason, I'm just picturing the gold, like the green and gold Australia Socceroo kind of jacket with a
Yeah.
Hazza on the back and
Yeah, it's like
number 8
it's
or
not
something.
a jacket is being generous as well. It's a windbreaker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I like that addition. I like that he's using that so we know who he is now. You touched hands with greatness, Trubisky.
Yeah.
You touched the hand of greatness.
The hand of God.
Hazard was brought up in the media recently.
Really?
In a satirical, a political satire, comedy sketch with Sammy J on the ABC.
What did he have to say?
When he was talking about the odds of the upcoming federal election. I know stuff about politics.
We have a federal election coming up, for those who don't know.
Yeah, let's not talk about it.
May 18th.
May the odds ever be in our favour, because who knows what will happen.
Kick these fuckers out.
It's the same day as...
What? Did I just express a political opinion on this podcast?
How dare you, Green or Labour?
Yep.
How dare you? Let's express our interesting views on the One Nation Party. No, but the supposedly the election's on the same day as the finale of Eurovision, and I know which is going to take more of my time.
Yes.
Kate Miller High Keyboard, that's for sure.
Yeah.
What was I talking about? Oh, on that sketch, they were doing like a mock of like a tipping competition to do with the election.
Yeah.
And one of the options in the tipping because it was like, I think it was like ScoMo will get back in, Bill Shorten will get in or something like that. And it was like, or Harold Holt will come back for election or something like that. The odds weren't great on it, but it was important that he was there. It's important that we're noting that he could.
I'll put $1 on it.
Oh, I'd put tens of dollars on it.
Because you never know. What is it is it The Office? Kevin, this is not Australian at all, but the US Office, the character Kevin says, maybe it's not Kevin, but I just remember a character talking about, if anyone ever gives you 10,000 to 1 odds, you always take the bet, regardless of what it is, because if you win, great, but you've actually not spent that much money.
If you put $1 on,
if
you get $10,000.
Exactly. So why the fuck wouldn't you?
Whenever I've bet on stuff, I have a rule of thumb. It is put a tip on one of the favourites.
Yep.
Put a tip on someone in the middle, and put a tip on one of the least favourites. Mm-hmm. Or tip all of them, and then you're always going to win. But if you do that, because again, if the loser comes through, like if it's like paying $20 or something, you put $2 on it, that's $40 in your pocket, mate.
Yep.
I can do tipping maths pretty quickly.
And if it didn't work, you've only lost $2.
Yeah, you've lost $2, but you've also lost, a little bit of dignity.
Yeah.
But I wish I did that. Have you done the thing, the like political grid thing? Where you answer questions and it tells you where you sit in terms of political preference?
Not on this most recent election time period. I think I did it last time.
I do it every time because I don't follow politics, so I don't know what I'm doing. But I feel like we should have really pushed for a section that aligns us with Harold Holt.
Definitely.
We could have a political party,
Yeah, I mean, anyone can, which has been demonstrated in the last 5 years of Australian politics. That's really become very obvious. Fucking anybody can have a party at this point.
Before we started this show, around one of the last election times, I don't know whether it was local or federal, I made a video of myself walking to go vote, and I talked about Harold Holt. And at that time, I'd also posted on Facebook talking about starting the Harold Holt Search Party.
Yeah.
Because I thought that'd be a great name for a political party. And then I started looking into starting a political party. And it's like, you only need it's like 800 signatures or something like that, I feel. Yeah. It's not a huge amount. And then you need, I don't know, there's some kind of amount of money that you've got to pay as well. But it's really not hard. The only reason that I don't do it is the same reason that sometimes I get self-conscious about our segment on the show, is that there is an element of us taking the piss of this poor man's families.
Oh yeah, they're devastated. They are devastated.
So if I ever do go into politics, it will be the Harold Holt Search Party.
Yeah.
We'll have strong views on education and
be quite unsure about the rest of it.
Yeah, medium to warm on everything else. I was aligned closer to Labor than the Greens because I answered a question incorrectly because I read it wrong. But I still kind of stand by it. So that was weird. I thought I'd be more on the green side of things.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Probably vote Greens, though.
Yeah, maybe.
You always tell me that if you're in doubt, vote for Greens.
Well, I think so. I mean, this is not necessarily a good way to look at it, but unfortunately, when it comes to the House of Representatives at least, it's either going to be Labor or Liberal.
Yeah.
So I see, let's not fuck around, I just give my vote to Labor directly.
Uh-huh.
In the Senate, though, I'm much more willing to open up a bit. So the Greens are most likely going to get it. And the Christian Democrats are right at the fucking bottom.
Are they?
Yeah.
Bugger. Are you allowed to talk about politics and things? On
On this? I mean,
Well,
this is
on
our
anything.
podcast.
But like,
so-
are we allowed to be like, I'm voting for them? You allowed to do
I
that?
mean, I didn't say I'm voting for anyone.
I think you're allowed to do it
specifically.
as long as you don't force others to do it, isn't
Yeah,
it? Like if I don't tell...
we can talk about who
our
we're voting
listeners
for.
do.
Yeah,
It's weird talking about politics because I just don't care. I talked about politics last night as well because there were people more informed than me and I had some questions about republic versus monarchy for Australia, which was
Right.
an interesting discussion.
ah.
But basically, I'm an intellectual. I've mentioned I'm doing a master's, haven't I?
You've said about it.
Yeah. And that'll be my third degree, I believe. So
that's fantastic.
It took me 3 times to get it right.
Yeah, yeah.
They're like, this idiot keeps coming back. In the interest of me being able to go off and do the rest of this assignment before we go to the play, which isn't going to happen, I'm going to eat some food. Thanks as always to Teylor Smirl, T-Smell, Smelly Tea for our wonderful cover art.
And Curtis Fernance, Fern Tree Music, mate. If I ever run for Parliament, he'll be my dude who makes my opening music. And I'm going to enter like a wrestler at the WWF. Yeah. And Curtis will be there on an electric guitar playing live, really to get the crowd amped up, and then I'll probably lose anyway. But that's okay.
I would vote the shit out of that
Yeah.
like person if they walked in like
Just
that.
really rouse the crowd.
I think he'd also be a pretty good hype man. Like Curtis would be good,
Yeah.
like just or like the muscle just standing behind you, like the character that Keegan Key plays. What's like Obama's anger?
Oh, well,
Translator?
Yeah, his anger translator. Yeah,
Yeah, like that's what I picture Curtis doing there.
Yeah.
So to end the episode as we've done in perpetuity, before I do the sign off, I think it's also important that we read from one of the books on the table over
Fuck
here.
it, I guess that's what's happening
Now,
now.
Tim, your option is either we do Suckling
Suckling.
or we take from the Lucky Dip.
Let's have a look at Suckling.
Okay.
Let's open it up.
This is fun for everyone. Underneath it was The Club by David Williamson. So it's called Marquee, 10 plays by American and British playwrights. I'm not sure what plays are actually in here. This cost someone $2, not me. I didn't pay for this. The plays that are in here, and great, someone's bloody written all over this bloody book.
Suckling.
You've got Oscar Wilde, The Importance of Being Earnest. Great play.
The whole play.
Yeah. You got Paddy Chayefsky? Marty. Tennessee Williams, Lord Byron's Love Letter.
Right.
Saul Levitt, The Andersonville Trial. George Bernard Shaw, St. Joan. Sam Peckinpah, Noon Wine.
Peckinpah.
J.M. Barrie, The Admiral Crichton.
Writer
Eugene
of Peter Pan.
O'Neill, The Hairy Ape. Oh, I've seen that. Noel Coward, Weatherwise. N.F. Simpson, One Way Pendulum. Those are the possible areas that the bit that we read will come from. But considering I'm going for the middle of the book, it's not going to be The Importance of Being Earnest.
Let's find
Here
out.
we go. Where are we? Oh, this is... What play is this? Scene 4. Jesus. I saw Joan, so it might be St. Joan by George Bernard Shaw.
Fabulous.
We're on... what am I going to take from? I'm going to take from someone called Cauchon. Cauchon. Scene 4, for those of you following along at home.
Fantastic.
Let's see. Cauchon. Conciliatory?
All right, folks, that's all we have time for.
How do you say that fucking word?
Conciliatory.
Dropping his polemical tone. None of this means anything to me, but I'm an actor, so here we go.
Polemical.
My lord, we shall not defeat the maid if we strive against one another. I know well that there is a will to power in the world. I know that while it lasts, there will be a struggle between the emperor and the pope, between the dukes and the political cardinals. This is relevant. Between the barons and the kings. The devil divides us and governs. I see you are no friend to the church. You are an earl first and last, as I am a churchman first and last. But can we not sink our differences in the face of a common enemy? I see now that what is in your mind is not that this girl has never once mentioned the church and thinks only of God and herself, but that she has never once mentioned the peerage and thinks only of the king and herself.
Interesting.
Completely useless to the end of the podcast. Although I did talk about parents, which we were talking about.
Yeah.
As always, yeah, g'day, Tim.
Yeah, g'day, Leon.
Yeah, g'day, everyone.
Yeah, g'day, everyone. Catches on the flippity flop.
Love this podcast? Support it and sponsor today. Simply head to AuscastNetwork.com for details.